Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come for me to make my official prediction for UFC 300's main event between Alex Pereira and Jamahal Hill. I'm going to go with Alex Poatan Pereira to get this thing done by second round KO. Now, guys, I got to be honest with you. When we look around the UFC light heavyweight division, right, I know that it's not exactly the deepest division in terms of competition inside the UFC, but when we look inside that top five, there's some really good fighters in there. And when we talk about one of the biggest threats in terms of the striking to Pereira at 205, I think the biggest threat to him is Jamahal Hill in terms of the striking. I know Jamahal Hill's a guy, people are making videos kind of pointing out some of the flaws in the striking and in some of these breakdowns, that Hill's not maybe the most technical striker and doesn't get it done, the most traditional way with the hands. This man has sensational power. He throws a good straight left hand. His punches loop really well around the guard, which I think is going to pose some issues for Alex, who likes to kind of hold that long guard, and he doesn't move his head very well off the center line. But at the same time, I just have some concerns on the side of Jamahal Hill coming into this matchup. And I'm not a lot of that has to do with the Achilles. I know something that we heard on the record from Tim Welch, Sugar Sean's coach on his YouTube channel. He pointed out the fact of, when he blew out his Achilles, what that recovery and that timeline looked like for him. And he wasn't really back to normal in training, at a significant level until about a year, post, op and all that different, after the injury and all these different things. That's not exactly why I'm not picking Jamahal Hill. When I look at this matchup, to me, this seems like if we're playing chess, I'll use this analogy, right? And whenever you're playing chess, you kind of get that person who starts moving the pawn a little bit forward on the board, and they're like, I'm getting there, man. I'm getting close. I'm getting close to you. I'm starting to kind of put that pressure on you. And then you kind of get that one player who's just sitting back, kind of rubbing his chin like, this guy doesn't see what I see, man. And then you got that bishop who just goes diagonal all across the board and takes you out. You're like, what the hell? I didn't see that, man. How did he see that? You were so preoccupied with the little movements, like Jamahal Hill's going to be throwing the jab out there. He's going to be so worried about trying to counter Alex and back him up and do all these little things, while Alex is going to be that guy that just shoots the bishop or the rook across, whatever. If you're a chess guy, you know what I mean. And it's going to be that one move that person did not see that's just going to take Jamahal Hill out. And I think that's the difference in this matchup. I think that Jamahal Hill is an outstanding fighter. I think he's incredibly underrated. And I think that he is the biggest threat inside this division other than Magomed Ankalaev because of the grappling. In terms of the striking, Jamahal Hill is incredibly dangerous. He has legit power. His kicks are nasty. And he's been knocking people out, man. But I think he's a little bit too hittable for my liking going in there against a guy like Alex Pereira. Now, I will say this. Since Alex has moved up to 205, while he still does have pretty good hand speed and those kicks are absolutely nasty, the game plan is a little bit different. I'll link a video down below where I break down some of the pad work recently from Pereira that kind of showcases what his strategy is going to look like against Hill. But it changes when you're going up against a southpaw. And I know Jamahal Hill does fight out of the orthodox stance a little bit too. He likes to mix it up. I don't think we see him do that too much in this matchup because when you're an orthodox fighter, man, Alex just tears that calf up with his rear leg. So when, Hill is southpaw, it makes it a little bit different to where Alex has to throw that little switch kick, which I think Jamahal Hill is going to try to time that with a left hand. But I think Alex and his coach, Lee, his striking coach, have been working on some things. And I think the counter that is going to be that nasty left hook that Alex throws. Now, everyone sits there and says, well, it's just going to be that left hook, but it's not just going to be, Alex is going to be sitting back hoping and praying on a left hook. I think that he's going to try to set Jamahal Hill up. And what that's going to look like is that jab that Alex throws. He throws it three different ways, throws it to the head, throws it kind of at an angle like we saw him do against Jan Blachowicz, and then he gets that head off the center line and drills it down to the body. I think he's going to look to do that, and just that little dip that he makes, that little dip, and he shoots the jab out there. He's setting you up, man. It's what he did to Sean Strickland, and then he kind of changes like he's going to jab to the body. Hill will react. The left hook comes right around the top. I think that's how Alex Pereira knocks out Jamahal Hill. I don't know if it's a flush one-shot knockout, but I think it hurts him, wobbles him. Pereira backs him up, starts teeing off, and the ref comes in and stops it. Kind of what we saw in that first Poatan-Izzy matchup in MMA. Nonetheless, this fight doesn't go past 2 rounds. We don't see more than 10 minutes of this fight, in my opinion. These guys are too dangerous in terms of the striking. There's too much power in there between the both of them. And they're both guys that are not tentative, right? That's the thing. Where we look at, Yuri and Rakic, there's a possibility that fight could be boring because of their fighting styles and how they're kind of methodical and kind of slow and in terms of how they approach the fight. Where Alex, he just is going to want to sit at that kickboxing range and kind of play that tick-for-tack type of game, and it's going to be on Jamahal Hill to not let him do that, because when Alex is kind of throwing these kicks out there and carelessly playing defense and kind of moving around, he's too comfortable. You need to keep him on the back foot. We saw Yuri do a really, really good job of that. At UFC 295, Prochazka was having a lot of success against Alex Pereira. Pereira does not move his head, guys. Like when he throws punches, he does a great job. When he throws the jab, slipping his head off. He throws the right hand, he slips his head off the center line. But when he's standing behind that long guard, he relies so heavily on that he does not move his head at all. And if I'm Jamahal Hill, I'm throwing that jab out there, leaving it, and throwing that left hand right behind it. We saw Israel Adesanya. That was the money shot against Pereira. And for whatever reason, guys, I've said this time and time again, if I was a doctor, I would write a prescription for Alex Pereira, because this man is allergic to a 1-2. As much as I like Poatan, I've been following this guy for years, man, before he got to the UFC, and I've also never picked against him inside the UFC, which is why I'm also rolling with him. I forgot to mention that. I've picked him every single time. He's came through every time except for that second Izzy fight. But this man just gets clipped with a 1-2, whether it's sparring, whether it's in a fight. I mean, he just, for whatever reason, the 1-2 connects on Alex Pereira all the time. If you don't know what that is, it's just a jab cross combination. And it's specifically when you throw the jab out and leave it, and it kind of blinds them, and then you throw the right hand right behind it. Now, what Jamahal Hill, I think, is going to look to do is something a little bit different, considering Alex likes to kind of leave his hands out there like this with that long guard. I think Hill's going to throw that jab out there and loop a shot around the guard, because Jamahal Hill, as much as people kind of want to point out some of the flaws in terms of the technicalities in the striking, he's a former basketball player. He's an outstanding athlete. He's very explosive. He has legit power in everything he does, while being able to move incredibly fast for his size. I think he said that he was like 240 pounds or something recently. Like, Jamahal Hill is a big dude in there, man. It's not going to be that Alex goes in there and he's this big, intimidating guy. Like, Jamahal Hill's not going to be playing that kind of game. I don't think he's going to show a lot of respect to Alex in this matchup. I think he's going to look to back him up, close him down, and it's going to be very important for Jamahal Hill when he starts pushing forward. Don't give Alex that time to breathe. We saw Yuri have a lot of success if Pereira does not fight very well moving backwards. Now, he did catch Prochazka when Yuri got overly aggressive because his legs were getting beat up. That's what I've said before, guys. Alex will either sit at range and just tear your legs apart to where you can't move and then he can hunt you down, or you start to tear up your legs to where you get desperate and you're like, man, I'm not going to be able to walk soon. I got to try to push the pace and close him down. And then he just kind of shoulder rolls, throws the right hook, left uppercut, and that's how he clipped Yuri. That's how he catches you. But other than that, if you can keep Alex on the back foot, if you can keep him backed up against the fence, and you can kind of keep him very uncomfortable, I think Jamahal Hill is going to have a lot of success in this matchup. I think he's incredibly dangerous. He's being underestimated, and it would not surprise me at all if Jamahal Hill knocks out Alex Pereira. Unfortunately, I'm a big Alex fan, so I wouldn't want to see that. But if there was a man to do it at 205, guys, out of anyone else that I could pick to knock out Alex, it's Jamahal Hill. So this is going to be an incredible stylistic matchup. It's going to be a fun fight. I don't think it goes past the past 2 rounds, like I said before, but I think Alex Pereira catches him with a left hook. I think he starts to beat up that lead leg of Jamahal Hill. Hill starts to try to get a little, he gets a little angry, a little ticked off that, his leg keeps getting hit. He's like, I don't see these kicks coming, man. And then he tries to close him down, gets overly aggressive, and gets caught with that left hook. And another thing to note, Alex has some really sneaky high kicks that he likes to throw. When he throws his kicks, he doesn't rotate his full body into it. You don't see the shift in his shoulders. He throws that right high kick really, really well. He almost caught Yuri with it. Yuri barely got a hand up in time. We've seen him throw that switch kick upstairs. He landed it on Jan Blachowicz. This man is dangerous. Both of these guys are incredibly dangerous. This is an incredible stylistic fight. I understand people thought the main event was going to be a Conor McGregor or Khabib returning or something crazy along those lines. But when we look at two big, explosive human beings that have outstanding power, outstanding speed, outstanding athletic abilities in different ways, this is an incredible fight. But I want to hear from you all down in the comments. Like this video. Drop your predictions below. If you have not already, please subscribe to the channel. Help your boy out. I appreciate you all. See you next time.